So I just finished watching The Bachelor with Matt James. I forgot which season that is, or yeah, I guess that's what it's called. I get episodes and seasons mixed up sometimes. But watched it with my son, and my dad popped in and out of it since we were visiting with him. But yeah, that was a really interesting ending. If you guys have seen Matt James on The Bachelor, I wanted to watch his season because once I saw him, and I just had this feeling of like he's a really good guy, and I can usually tell, like, just within a glance nowadays. Back in the day when I was younger, totally different, but now I can just tell if somebody's trying to keep it real, at least, if not just keeping it real all the time, doing their best, and you can kind of see through whatever mistakes they make. And he's so like that. It's like he's so understanding of other people's and the women's mistakes, and he expressed that through the season, whether it was the women's drama or somebody just not understanding him. He would give people the benefit of the doubt to a point, and I feel like he did a really great job of like balancing doing that, but then also being true to himself and being firm and like, this is right, this is not right. So I just sound like the biggest Matt James fan, but the way it ended was pretty much how I thought it was going to end, but it brought up some interesting topics. And we'll just say my son and I were talking about love and the difference between falling in love, being in love, and then just unconditional love, which is on a totally different level, and that's God's love, right, for everybody. And having that agape love, like he reads about in the Bible, and we've talked about in our Christian faith that we've had. And most people, I was explaining to him, don't have that. Even if they say they have it, they don't. I'm not trying to be negative. It's just what I've seen and what I've come to realize. But we can only love somebody as much as we love ourselves, which is very true. And as much as we've done like healing work on our past traumas, or, you know, whatever we need to heal from. And my son's doing a lot of listening and like, that makes sense, Mom. Okay, I get that. Yep. And they get to the point on the show where they talk about falling in love, being in love. I loved him, but now I'm feeling, and it's all like talking about those fleeting feelings of being sure about, and, you know, putting the work into something looks different when you're not married versus once you already get married, I think, and I've experienced that in life. And I don't want to spoil the show, but we'll just say that I went into explaining these and talking my son through these different states of, love, being in love, and what I've learned and what I used to think and believe, and kind of how I lived my life. And a lot of that I see in these people, like, you know, we're trying to protect ourselves, right? Trying not to get hurt, but then you're also trying to put yourself out there. And so when you do that, you are kind of straddling the fence. You're riding the fence a bit, right? You got 1 foot here, 1 foot here. You're like, I'm protecting myself because I'm straddling. And you can't actually do that. It's impossible. We end up shooting ourselves in the foot or hurting ourselves in the process, because then we keep ourselves from like the full love that we deserve. And I have learned that the hard way. And I used to believe that keeping yourself safe and just choosing to love somebody was the right thing, but it really takes both. And that's what I was explaining to my son. It takes being in love, but also choosing to love. It's a choice, but you also need all the other stuff. It's not about just chemistry, but guess what? It's also not about just a choice, because if you're just choosing somebody, then if you don't have all those other factors going to commingle together and be like this perfect blend that you deserve, it's like you're going to come up with an issue and be searching for something later. I know I've experienced it. I've seen plenty of other people experience it. And some people choose to settle, and I was one of those people that I tried my best, and then I realized I was like, I can't settle. I'm going to have to just go for it, even if I'm making these crazy mistakes, and I have. And then take a break. You got to do some healing. You can't keep jumping from relationship to relationship, and I've had a hard time realizing that because it was hard for me to be alone, and I won't get into all that, but I'm so grateful for that time and those experiences these past few years. Even though it's been difficult, it's just been a lot of healing time that I needed, and my son sees that, and we go through conversations and life seasons together, and he knows when I'm telling him something and sharing that I am keeping it real, and he knows I back that up with my actions. And I'm not a big talker. Like, I just like to show people. I like to show, and then I like to tell later. So I do like to show and tell, but like, once I've learned something and experienced it, then I'm happy to talk about it more. I used to talk about things while I was going through it, talking to my friends on the phone, we're updating each other, we're catching up. I am so over that. Like, I don't do that anymore, and there's reasons behind that. And I finally kind of got out of that habit this past year. And I've learned how to pull back into myself and not overshare and share so much of myself. Especially, I just have had to learn the hard way, we'll just say. When you think everyone's out for your best interests and everybody loves me, and then you find out later, like, oh, that's actually not the mentality. It is very shocking, but it's great. It's like you want to know the truth, and that's me. I want to know the whole truth and nothing but the whole truth, so help me God. Excuse me, but I'm getting off topic because we were talking about the difference between being in love, working on it, what it means to be all in once you have all of the factors working together. Like, if you have all of that working together, then I'm like, it's just a matter of keeping working and keeping the purpose going. Just like I said, what about with our body? How do we keep the blood, the water, the oxygen, how do we keep that flowing through our body? How do we keep healthy? We got to move. We got to take care of ourselves. You have to exercise. You have to give yourself nutrients, through food, but also through spiritual practices, grounding, getting out in nature, feeding your spirit, whatever that means, music, whatever it means. Like, that's how you circulate all of what you need through the body. Like, it's the same thing with love. If we don't circulate it through and work it through and investigate all the areas and all the spaces and keep it moving and keep it grooving, if you stop at any point and give up, or you stop too long to take a pause, like, you might need space, that's cool. Like, oxygen's like, I'll give you space, I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna flow through, and then the other side's like, cool. But love circling around, like, I'll give you plenty of space, sure, but you gotta communicate with me, because how do I know you're still there for me? Like, how do I know what's going on? So you have to communicate. I know this is like a wild metaphor, right, guys? But it is true. I realized how, like, on point that was for me today when I shared it with my son. He was like, yeah, that makes sense about flowing through the body, the oxygen, what we need, love, blood, water, air, oxygen. Those things are a little different, but yeah, you have to keep it moving and grooving and have a purpose. And just, they say it's not about the destination, it's about the journey, and I totally agree with that. I would say there's a constant destination. It's the present. When you're on your journey and you're in it, you're in the present, but the communication's got to be there, and respect and love and healing and all of that's got to be there. And when you have all those factors working together, and you take fear out of the equation, the fear is gone because like you're trusting in the process and you know all these things, then I think that's the perfect storm, right? Or the perfect healing. What's the opposite of a storm? Calm, the perfect calm. But I want it all. I want a storm, I want calmness, I want high, I want I want like the roller coaster, but I also want the straight lines. Like, that just means we're in the moment, we're present, we're living life. And I don't know where you guys are at and what you want and your experiences in love and loss and any cool metaphors you have to share. Please comment in here and share them, or give me any ideas. I should probably have made this a live stream, but it's a longer video, and maybe we can talk about this soon in a live stream or something like that. But I'd be happy to go into any more stories or life experiences again. I know I've shared some things from the past, more like healing from abusive relationship or having toxic relationships, but yeah, so I just thought that was pretty cool. I love sharing moments with my son and knowing that he's fully confident in my advice and what I have to share, because he knows I've lived it and that it's true, and that I'm not just saying things from the Bible. I'm not trying to put that down, obviously, or another book or another teaching. It's actually my life teachings, and so that's why it means a lot to me. And yeah, I hope you guys can find that with your children, and let me know if you have any special teachings or moments that you've shared too that meant a lot. I'm just having the come full circle today, and just wow, I'm really thankful for that. So thanks for listening, and hope you guys are having a great Sunday.